Hi all. So just was experimenting with the node WAP and came across something like this. Okay. So I thought why not share it with you all. So yeah, I also want maybe this. Let's go one step ahead and then probably connect this kind of extrusion with maybe an audio or maybe with also an color. Okay, so probably I want the extrusions to work along with the audio as well as the color. So let's see how this can be done. Okay. um yeah, so let's get started from the scratch for this. Yes, this okay. uh Let me see if my recording is on. Yes. Okay. So let's take a sphere. In the sphere node, I'll change the primitive type to polygon. Okay, which I will want the frequency to be about 4. Okay, and it's just a matter of extruding this. So I'll just apply, say, a poly extrude to this. And it's that simple that we extrude it on the individual groups and increase the distance. Okay, if I don't, okay, so if I don't, just let me disengage it for a while and then use let's say WAP, that is attribute WAP. So attribute WAP, I mean, just insert it in between. Okay, attribute WAP is a node which will help us to work on the different point primitive or levels. Okay, so just dive into the attribute WAP. uh, uh, Basically, this geometry warp global is something which is uh, information which is being imported from here. Okay, and geometry warp output is the information which is being output from here. Okay, and of course there's nothing in between right now which is connecting both of them. Okay, so what I would like is to, let's say, put a mathematical calculation in between which will be say noise. Okay, now everybody who's in CG will know what is noise. Okay, so I want to input a noise parameter in this in between this. Okay, so I will hit tab and I will type in noise, say, for example. Now if you take a look, we have all different type of noise. You can use any. Okay, I'll be using a particular one which is turbulent noise. Okay? Doesn't matter. You can use any. It doesn't matter. It's just the different types of noise which are working. Okay. And what I will need to do is I'll need to understand that the turbulent noise will be running or what. Okay, will be running over with on the position, on the velocity, on age, on the color, or what. Okay, so let's take the first one from here, that is the position. And the position of what, I'll tell you. Okay, so first let's connect it to the position of the turbulent noise and noise to the position. Okay, if you take a look at it, just becomes invisible. It's not there, but it's still there. So you just are not able to see it. Okay, so if I just turn this on, okay, you'll see that it's still there. You see the point numbers in there. Okay, so display point numbers. You see the point numbers are still there. So the geometry is there. Okay, Now, what has happened in here? I'll come back to that. Okay. To correct it, what I will need to do is take it to default values. Now, what has happened is it's applying the turbulence and the noise, but it's not at its default position. Okay. It needs to be at its default position. So to correct it, what I will do is apply a node which is called as add. Right? So don't worry, I'll be coming back to what this is. Okay, what I'm doing right now. Just connect it to the uh, let this be connected already to position, and then to this. Okay, and then finally the out turbulent to the input one. Okay, and then you can see it gets back to its position. Okay, so position to the position, the add and geometry. Okay, so turbulent noise, if you check, is work is basically a small program which is uh, manipulating the vertices of it. Okay, and uh, just in the mistake which I have done is when you put it into the wrong value here, I'll just input it into the position. There you see there is a little deformation which is taking place on what? On the position of what? On the points. Now why points? That's because it's running over the points. If I go back and if we check in the attribute swap node, it's running on the points. For what? For the spheres. That's what is happening. Because it's running over the points are getting displaced by the turbulence. Okay. In the direction based on what you have in 1D. So it's getting displaced in 1D direction on one side. Okay, I don't want that. I want it to be 3D. Okay, so yes, we are now 3D. If you go into the turbulence and change the parameters in here, you find that it's dependent on the turbulence right now. The points are all dependent on the turbulence. It's displacing all those based on the turbulence. Okay. If I play this, nothing will happen, of course. Okay. Let's take this real time. So if I make it real time now, it will play nicely. Okay. So what if I want this to move? Okay. What if I want this to like nicely have some animation going on? Though it's doing a noise, all right, but it's stable. Now, one of the factors which will affect that is the offset, right? So if I just kind of take the offset, this is going to affect it, right? That's the one. So I could just simply set a key to this, or I could just simply take time, which is the third dimension. Okay, take time, which is the third dimension, and input it into the offset. Okay, so now when I play it, you will see that there is some motion to this. Okay, let's take that a little higher. Maybe reference a little smaller. Attenuation, let's take the attenuation higher to 1. What if was 2 default? And then you will see that there is a kind of a motion which is happening to what? To the points. And of course, it's on the points because we are running the equation on the points. Okay. The poly extrude is not in the view right now. Okay. It's not in the view, but I want to run over everything on the extrude rather than on the points. Okay, so if I just turn this off, it doesn't happen because still working on the points. Okay, I want the extrusions to be based on the I want the extrusions to be something which is to be worked on. Okay, rather than the points moving, or the extrusions to be more or less in a frequency like fashion. Okay, extrusion should vary accordingly. Okay, so right now it's the same. See, from all side is almost the same. Okay, so if I go to the extrusion and then just adjust, it's same all. Okay, it doesn't have that uh, variations of the noise. I want the noise to be variations in here so that extrusions will vary on the individual primitives. Okay, yeah, so what will I do for that is let's I'll be using from the poly extrude an attribute which is called as distance scale. There's just a name. Z scale is just a name, but I want to use distance scale. Distance scale will vary the distance between the individual extrusion which is happening in between these different primitives. Okay, so that's the attribute which I need. Okay, but just by turning this on won't do anything. I will need to specify it here. I'll need to point it over here. Now, what is the way I will? What's the way I will do that is by using something called as bind. Okay, bind export. Okay, and then bind it inside the noise here. Okay, and then specify it with the same name, that is rescale. Okay, that doesn't do anything really by this way executing it. Okay, I will need to come out and then specify that if I shall run over the attribute on the primitive level. Okay, so immediately I will say, just turn this off. Okay, you'll see that there is a variation. Okay, the variation is minimum right now. All right. Okay, so if I double click on it and then go to the turbulence, increase the amplitude, you will see that, let's say make it 2. Okay, you will see that it's working. If you just play this, okay, you see that the variations are at. Okay, am I right? So probably just reduce maybe the turbulence a bit. Okay, attenuation is all right. Roughness, yeah, probably it's good, and I can use it. See, yeah, so it's working. Just let's go back and then go back to the sphere and maybe increase the frequency so that I get to see the clear visual of this. Okay, this is what is happening. Okay. Okay, fine. So I think that that's clear to you all of what each of these is doing. Okay. Coming back to the add node which I was talking about. Now, if I wouldn't have an add, I wouldn't have my sphere in place. Now, what's the reason? What exactly is happening here? Okay. So just uh, clear this to you all. Okay. Take a sphere once again. Okay. Out in the object. Okay. So let's take a sphere. Okay. Turn this on. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, just imagine I want to take this sphere 1 unit. Okay. I'll be doing it with the help of attribute wrangler, okay, which is a vex way of inputting an expression, and then kind of based on the expression you can vary the value of a particular object. So here I want to vary uh, let's say the distance, okay, or the position of this object in a y direction. I want to move it up in a y direction. Okay. So let me type in Wop. Okay. Wop wrangler node in here. Do I see wrangler name? No, if I can't, I will just type in wrangler. Okay, attribute wrangler. Let's input this into the first this connect it into the first input, turn on the display flag, and then I can type an expression. Now, though the expression will be pretty much very simpler, is that I want the sphere to be translated in 1 units in upward direction. Okay. So what do I do is I will be using an attribute position. Okay. That is as uh, uppercase P, and if I just say is equal to, let's say, 1. So if I am being very blunt and, like, say, in a layman point of view, I just say position of so and so object sphere, which is kind of inputting from here into the first connected being, which is being connected to the first input. It needs to work on the sphere, right? In whatever direction. Definitely this is not specified in any direction, but it's step in one. Okay. And then to, let's say, to execute it finally, I will just say semicolon. Okay. And then just click outside. Now if you see, the sphere is gone. Okay. Now you might say that, let's say, yeah, just specify the value in there. You're not specified any axis. So if I want to specify an axis, I will just put in a curly brackets, for example, say for the x-axis is 0, for y it's 1, okay, and for let's say for z it's 0, and then again curly bracket and close it. Okay? And then if I click outside, still doesn't work, right? So there's some issue, right? So in this case, what am I going to do is add. Remember add source. Okay, so in the attribute log, I use this, okay, which wasn't there. I was just inputting the position value and exporting the noise out to the out to the output value. Okay. So in this case, what am I going to do is I'll be using, rather than using it directly, I'll be using at p, okay, add to whatever value, okay, to whatever direction. So now when I just add this value and then check, see, there's some red sign in here, symbol in here, which is specifying that this should be comma. Okay, so I want comma to be here, right? So, okay, so comma, and then just click. So you see that now this is going one value. If this wouldn't have been there, if I just say Control X, this wouldn't work, because by default what is happening is you see the points which all the points have been translated or transformed to a single position. So to keep the default position of all the points, I need them to add them to their individual values, which is exactly what I'm trying to do here. Okay, add position plus those individual values, and I see that they get transformed into individual values. And this is exactly what we did in the attribute Vop node, where we had an add node which actually brings it to the default value, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so hopefully that's something which is clear to y'all, so yeah, let's come back here and let's turn this on and turn this off and then see. Okay, so have this turbulence kind of uh, a turbulent um, turbulence working on the extrude, right? So what I will do is jump inside and then probably just check with different kind of noises. If I use this noise, I will have something like this. If I use this noise, I'll have something like this. Okay. You also have it going in the negative direction, students. If you remember, what is happening is when you apply sparse convolution, or if you apply original one, whatever it is, the noise works in a way where if this is an axis, the noise works in both direction, right? It works on both the direction, in the negative and in the positive, and that's what is happening here. It's actually also going in a negative direction. What if I don't want it to go in negative direction? I want it to be like this. So if the noise is working on a surface, I want it to be only in the negative direction, or sorry, in the positive direction. Don't want it to go in there. So in this case, what I will do is use a node. Uh, Most of you all must be knowing already. I'll be using fit range. If I use a fit range in this, you see, it just normalizes it to the positive direction. It's working. Okay, so with that done, let's move ahead and then just let's experiment with, let's say, colors. We can just use the same turbulent noise and make use of the color diffuse, that is CD, in here. So if I want to copy, Alt, and then just copy this, it will copy it with the same inputs, and then you can take the noise and input it into the CD. Okay. Where I will see the colors. I want to just brighten up the colors. I will go here and increase the amplitude of it, so that will brighten up the colors. If that is what you want. Okay. So temporarily I'll just disconnect it. Okay. Because the next thing what I want to show you is how can we connect sound to it, and that's what everybody would like to know, because most of you all must have seen already some videos based on that. Okay, some tunes based on that. So the methodology is the same. Okay, I'll be applying a chop node in here. Okay, let's do that. Let's bring in the channel operator, chop network, that is. Okay, double click on this, take the file node. The file is in which the file will be my sound file, and then I'll also need to export it. Okay, so I'll have an export node. Export it in the sense export it out. Okay, from here, from the channel operators. So what will be my music? The music will be here. Okay, so it can be an MP3, it doesn't matter. So I'll just go and find my music, just use this one. Okay. I'll also need to listen to the music. By the way, it's being imported into the node, but I will also like to listen to the music interactively at the same times here. I want the waveform to be in the timeline. Okay. So click, okay, go to the real time and turn on the file, still here, and bring the same music out into your timeline. Okay, so there I see it. So play it. Okay, it's not It's still not connected, of course. Basically, the WAP node is driving it. It's not still not the music which is driving it. Okay. So what do I do for that? I'll need to export it, of course, from here. So turn on the flag for that. Okay, the blue flag for that for the export. Okay. And yeah, now if I click on the export node, I will need to specify that on what path I need to apply it to, because the path is right now TX. That is something to do with the transformation. So that's all right if I want to transform the sphere in X direction, but I don't want to transform the sphere in the X direction. I want that the extrusions should be controlled here by the help of this attribute. And where are those? If I go out, okay, into the palette extrude, okay, I want the distance attribute to be controlled. Okay, so this attribute to be controlled, okay, from the audio. Okay, I don't want. So how do I? Okay, so if I hover on this, you will see that the parameter, the short parameter for it is parameter is dist. Okay, that's what I'll need to specify. Right. So just go in and specify that parameter here, that is dist. Okay, that's something I want to control, right? So dist. Okay. What is the node? The node, of course, is the polyextrude node. Okay, so let's go back. Click here, and as a node, try to find out the node. Okay, that's polyextrude. So I'll specify it on here. Now to execute it, it's not yet done, student, because if I want to execute it, I will need to click on this export, because it's still not exported. So this will export it. Okay, actually the display for flag will just show you the display right now, but to export it, I'll have to click on the export, which will actually export it. Okay, so now if I just check it, okay, let me just increase the time duration for this, and then let's play. So when it starts,
devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand.
I'll just use one more node here, okay, which is okay, math node, okay, and then put the channel pre-op on the positive side, so I don't get the negative extrusions.
Devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer.
And maybe I'll go back in the attribute WAP and connect the noise to the CD back again. And that's all, students. So thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit like if you like the video, and enjoy the music, guys. Bye.
Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand, got my hand. Come